A text from my sister-in-law, a doctor at Clark Medical, flashed on my screen, her words dripping with concern. You and Chloe tried so hard to get pregnant. How could you just let her go through with an abortion? And at the family's hospital of all places. Are you trying to piss off your parents on purpose? You've been on the outs with them for long enough. But I hadn't even been home for at least 3 months. The company sent me to manage the San Francisco expansion. There was no way. A cold knot of instinct tightened in my gut. That baby definitely wasn't mine. The truth was likely far worse than I could imagine. I booked the first flight back to Denver. It turned out that while I was busy grinding to make a life for us, she had been living a whole other life, one that was beyond anything I could have conceived. When I was completely floored when I got my sister-in-law's text, I replied without thinking, "Megan, you know how much I want a kid. If she were really pregnant, I'd be bringing her home to celebrate, not." She went silent for a long moment. Then my phone rang. "Leo, are you serious?" she asked, her voice low. "I swear I saw Chloe in the recovery room." "Hold on, I'll have someone pull her chart." I froze, silent for a beat before forcing a laugh. "Okay, Megan, I get it. Just keep this quiet for now. I might need the family's help." "Of course." She paused, and I could tell the gears were turning. "Leo, don't do anything rash," she finally said. "I'll send you the records. Maybe it's all a misunderstanding. And get back to Denver as soon as you can," she added. "An abortion is still a major procedure. Whatever's going on, you two need to talk face to face." She hung up. I smoked a cigarette, the bitter taste filling my mouth as I booked a flight. I couldn't describe the hollow feeling in my chest. Chloe and I met in college. We were the perfect couple, and with everyone's blessing, we got married. That was 3 years ago. We hadn't planned on kids right away. I'd been cut off from my family for refusing to marry the woman they'd chosen for me, so money wasn't exactly flowing. Besides, we were newlyweds, happy to have our own little world for a while. But this year, it was on the table. I noticed my parents softening toward Chloe, and I figured a grandchild might be the final push they needed to welcome me back. Once the baby arrived, they'd have to extend an olive branch. Chloe could finally have the life she deserved, a life of comfort and security. She didn't know any of this, of course. The day I was cut off, my family forbade me from ever mentioning my connection to the Clarks of Denver. To this day, she thinks I'm just some corporate guy who's doing okay, with a little money saved up. So, the conclusion was obvious. My fists clenched, and I slammed them against the wall, the dull pain, a welcome distraction. I opened my message thread with Chloe. The last texts were from yesterday. We were telling each other how much we missed one another, planning for the life we have with a baby. Even after 3 years, we hadn't cooled off. We were still as close as ever. To be honest, a part of me still couldn't believe she would cheat. After I landed, I took a moment to get my emotions in check. I needed to investigate this properly. As I was thinking, my phone buzzed. It was my older brother, Ethan, the current CEO of Clark Industries. The news must have already reached the family. Knowing how fiercely protective my brother is, he'd probably already dug into it. "Little brother, you in Denver?" "Just landed. On my way back to the condo." "Good. You've been gone too long. Mom and Dad miss you. Come by when you have a chance. And you can't let me run this empire by myself forever, you know. You're a Clark heir too. Time to stop slumming it. I'll come back as soon as I handle this thing with Chloe, Ethan. I won't disappoint you this time." "All right, little brother. I've already had my people look into it. The full picture is pretty clear. If you need anything, just say the word." He paused. "Oh, and that Victoria Davenport has been asking about you. You should see her when this is all over. Don't leave a girl like that hanging." "I know, Ethan. Don't worry." I hung up and got into the black SUV the family had sent. It sped toward my condo. Watching the familiar streets fly by, I saw ghosts of Chloe and me everywhere. Every corner held a memory. After a long moment, I pulled out my phone and called her. It rang for a while before she finally picked up. "Hey, babe. Miss me?" she purred. "Every second," I said, my voice smooth. "What are you up to?" "Just hanging out at home." "Are you still swamped with work? When are you coming back to me?" "Soon. A few more days, I promise. And I got you a present." "I'm so lucky." "When exactly? Not sure yet, but it'll be soon." "Okay. Well, you have to tell me before you get on the plane. I've got a surprise for you, too." "Of course, baby." I couldn't hear anything suspicious in her voice, but it didn't matter. My brother's assistant had already sent me her location. The car pulled up across from the Clark Galleria, and two figures standing by the entrance came into sharp focus. The Galleria was one of our family's properties. I used to take Chloe there all the time because it was convenient. Outside the main doors, Chloe was bundled in a thick winter coat, completely out of place in a mild autumn weather. She even had a beanie pulled down over her head. She kept her distance from the crowds, her eyes darting around nervously as she talked to me. Standing next to her was a man, and the way they stood together was far too intimate. I recognized him. Ryan Porter. He was in our year in college. "Babe, if that's all, I'm gonna go," she said quickly. "Wait, is there something else? I'm a little tired. I think I'm gonna go lie down." "It's nothing." I watched the two of them through the tinted window, my throat tight. There was nothing left to say. As soon as she hung up, Chloe let out a visible sigh of relief, then leaned into Ryan's arms with a seductive smile. He dropped his cigarette, crushed it under his shoe, and wrapped an arm around her waist. They walked into the mall laughing. I got out of the car. I had no interest in watching those two cheating scumbags put on a show. I went straight to the mall security office. On the monitors, I watched them, arm in arm. They would stop every so often to kiss, their PDA nauseating. Was she just lonely? Did she find herself a temporary replacement? But the way they held hands, the intensity of their kisses. They looked more in love than she and I ever had. Chloe was constantly acting cute, leaning on him, and a cold smile spread across my face. They really didn't give a damn. We came to this mall all the time because it was a Clark property. I knew it like the back of my hand. Oh, right. Chloe had no idea I was the youngest son of the Clark family. Otherwise, she probably wouldn't be parading her affair around so publicly. At least not here. It was disgusting. They walked into a high-end lingerie store. When Chloe was with me, she always cultivated this pure, innocent image. Her underwear was always modest, conservative even. Now, she was picking out the sexiest, most revealing pieces. She even waved Ryan into the dressing room with her. It was obvious what was happening in there. Even through the grainy security footage, I could see the fire in their eyes. Their boldness was stunning. They didn't care who saw. Soon, they emerged with several sets of lingerie, all of them extremely risque. Ryan laughed, pleased with himself. As he paid, his hands roamed freely over Chloe's body. If they weren't in public, they'd probably be all over each other. The two of them walked into a trendy bistro, completely shameless. I just followed them, a cold smile fixed on my face. The assistant my brother sent with me looked disgusted. "Mr. Clark, should I have some people? Rough them up." "No, I don't want a moment of satisfaction. I want to utterly destroy them." I had to plan this carefully. I didn't have definitive proof of infidelity yet. If I divorced her now, she'd get half of everything. It wasn't a fortune by my family's standards, just a condo, but I wasn't about to let that cheating bitch walk away with a single penny. She was unbelievable. Even though I'd hidden my identity as a Clark heir, I was still a good provider. I'd used my own skills to buy us a beautiful condo, and I just finished paying off the mortgage this year. But Chloe, her family was from a dead-end town in rural Pennsylvania, a place so economically depressed that you were lucky to make 20 grand a year. After we got married, I didn't want her to struggle, so I told her she didn't have to work. I was worried she'd get bored, so I even moved her mother to Denver and bought her a small house to live in. If we divorced now, Chloe could claim half the value of our condo. Her mother's house wasn't an issue. I was short on cash when I bought it, so Ethan paid for it. The deed is in the Clark Corporation's name. But my condo was worth a solid $750,000. There was no way I was letting that cheating pair get their hands on it. I gave my brother's assistant a few quiet instructions. My mood improved slightly. I had to get irrefutable proof, something that would hold up in court. That was the only way to make sure she walked away with nothing. I was going to send her packing back to that broke-down town she came from, where she could spend the rest of her life regretting this. For when the happy couple finally left the restaurant, arm in arm, a private investigator was already tailing them. The two of them drove off in the car I'd bought for Chloe, heading straight for a hotel. I was going to have the P.I. follow them inside, but the hotel refused to disclose guest information. I had to pull back. I would have to make another plan. But as I drove home, I saw the lights were on in my condo. I stared for a long moment before I realized who it was. My wonderful in-laws. What were they doing here? There was no way they didn't know what their daughter was up to. An affair, an abortion. They didn't just ignore these betrayals, they actively enabled them. And now they were after my condo. The audacity. Was the house I bought for them not big enough? Fine. If that's how they wanted to play it, we could play. With that thought, I pulled out my phone and called Chloe. She didn't pick up the first few times. The call finally connected on the 7th try. She was probably in the middle of something and couldn't be bothered by her actual husband. When she answered, her voice was thick with fatigue, but I could hear the faint buzz of post-coital satisfaction. "Babe, why are you calling?" I let out a cold laugh. This woman was shameless, servicing her lover with one hand while calling me babe with the other. It was nauseating. "Honey, I finished up early. My flight is landing now. Can you come pick me up?" I heard a rustle on the other end, and her voice shot up an octave. "What? You didn't tell me. I'm not ready at all. I missed you too much. I wanted to surprise you. Hurry up and get here. Let's not go home tonight. Let's go out, do something exciting." "Okay, wait for me. It might take me a while. I need to do my makeup." "No problem. I brought some fun things back with me. We're going to have a good time tonight." "I'm okay. Wait for me." I could tell she didn't want to come. She's got her fix. The last thing she wanted was to climb out of a warm bed. Not to mention she'd just had a procedure. The wind outside was bitingly cold. But that was the point. I wanted her to rush around in the cold. I wanted to play her for a fool. 20 minutes later, I got a text from a P. Chloe was in her car, leaving the hotel. I smiled grimly and called her again. "Honey, it's freezing out. I don't want you driving all this way. I already got an Uber. I'll be home in 10 minutes. Just wait for me there." "You're almost home?" "Yeah. Aren't you touched? Your husband is always thinking of you." I stared up at the lighted window of my condo. Since they had no shame, they could all pack their bags and go back to that miserable town together. I sent a few texts to the assistant, then headed up. As the elevator doors opened to my floor, I saw it all play out. The expressions on my in-laws' faces were priceless. They never expected me to be back so suddenly. "Mom, Dad, you're here. Where's Chloe?" My mother-in-law's face was a mask of panic. She swallowed hard and forced a laugh, clearly unsure how to cover for her daughter. "Oh, Leo, you're back. Chloe was scared being here alone while you were away, so we came to stay with her. She stepped out this afternoon. I'll call her and tell her to hurry back." I waved my hand dismissively. "She's probably on her way to the airport to get me. I called her earlier. She should be back any minute." "Well, Leo, since you're back, we'll get going," she said, grabbing my father-in-law's arm. "You and Chloe haven't seen each other in a while. You two should have a nice night." I quickly stopped them. How could I let them miss the main event? "Mom, Dad, don't go. I ordered a huge meal. We can all eat together. Thank you for looking after everything while I was away." I sat on the couch and casually surveyed the condo. It was tidy, which probably meant they'd been living here for a while. Chloe must have brought Ryan here, too. A box of Trojans in the kitchen trash can confirm it. So reckless. They couldn't even be bothered to clean up the battlefield. My mother-in-law must have seen me glance at it, because she quickly grabbed the trash can, pretending to tidy up and dispose of the evidence. But I wasn't going to make a scene over something so trivial. I pretended not to notice. Half an hour later, Chloe burst through the door in a panic. The moment she walked in, Chloe shot a pleading look at her parents. When they gave her a subtle nod, she finally seemed to relax. I pretended not to see their silent exchange. "Babe, you're back so suddenly, you didn't even give me a heads up. I missed you, so I came back." I walked over and pulled her into a hug. In her panicked eyes, I saw a flicker of fear as I gently slipped her heavy coat off her shoulders. "It's not even that cold out. You'll get sick dressing like this." Chloe's body went rigid. She stood there, frozen, as I stripped her down to a thin blouse. "I just haven't been sleeping well. I feel a little weak." Seeing this, her mother's eyes widened in alarm. A procedure like that is like a mini childbirth. The last thing she needs is to catch a chill. She must have been thinking. She shot her husband a look, and he quickly grabbed a thick winter robe and draped it over Chloe's shoulders. "You're all sweaty. Don't catch a cold. Put this on." Chloe seized the opportunity and scurried into the bedroom to change. "Babe, you must be hungry. Let me go make you something," she said, reappearing. I stopped her with a hand on her arm. "Don't bother. I ordered a huge feast. It'll be here any minute." "Oh, well, thank you, sweetie." She handed me a glass of hot water. I ignored it, walked to the fridge, and pulled out a few ice-cold beers. Flying is exhausting. Have one with me. It'll help me unwind. Chloe stared at the beer in her hand, trapped. Her eyes darted around, looking for an escape, but I gave her none. Honey, I thought you loved ice-cold beer. With my eyes on her, she had no choice but to start drinking with me. I didn't have to wait long. The delivery from the high-end Japanese restaurant arrived, a massive, elaborate sushi and sashimi platter. Per my specific instructions, everything was served cold, with many of the dishes nestled on beds of crushed ice to maintain their freshness. If you ignored the fact that there was a woman in the room who had just undergone a serious medical procedure, it was a truly magnificent feast. It had set me back over $1,000. Chloe hesitated, not daring to touch anything. But she couldn't say why. Everything on the table was her favorite. Her mother stared at the beautiful arrangement of food, her expression a mixture of desire and dread. But with my enthusiastic encouragement, they all reluctantly picked up their chopsticks. Chloe focused on a bowl of white rice, shoveling it into her mouth. But I couldn't let my dear wife go unfed. Chloe, why are you only eating rice? Have some of this. Look, bluefin tuna sashimi, flown and fresh today. Try it. I picked up a few glistening slices of tuna from the ice bed and placed them on her plate. Chloe swallowed hard. Her hand trembled as she picked up a piece, dipped it in wasabi and soy sauce, and put it in her mouth. I could see her physically shudder from cold. Because the heat was on, the room was warm, so the cold food was actually quite refreshing. Chloe seemed to resign herself to her fate. Seeing no way out, she began to eat, shoveling the icy fish into her mouth. Her mother was practically vibrating with anxiety, but she was powerless to stop it. Leo, she finally ventured, her voice strained. Weren't you two trying for a baby? Eating all this cold food isn't good for her. I waved her concern away. It's fine, Mom. It's not like we have to try this very second. We can start again next month. With that, I handed Chloe a small, chilled ceramic cup of sake. 7 after somehow surviving the ordeal of dinner, my in-laws fled my condo, as if their lives depended on it. They couldn't stand to watch any longer. Honey, time for a shower. We hadn't seen each other in 3 months. Chloe knew exactly what I wanted. She resisted. After the assault of ice-cold sashimi, her whole body felt raw. A shower would be torture. But my gaze was unwavering. She dragged herself to the bathroom. The second she was inside, I grabbed her phone. As expected, it was clean. She was smart enough not to leave a trail. But that wasn't my goal. As the son of the Clark family, I had people for this. I quickly installed the spyware app, then deleted the installer icon. It was a simple program my brother had his tech guys write. Besides real-time monitoring, it could also recover all previously deleted data. Tonight's torment was just the beginning. I've never been a forgiving person, especially not when it comes to love. When I loved her, I was willing to give up my identity as a Clark heir. Now that she had betrayed me, I would use the most ruthless means possible to show her what cold-hearted really meant. So she liked cheating, fine. I let her have it. When I finally kicked her back to that poor, forgotten town, I'd make sure to pack all that sexy lingerie she bought as a parting gift. Let the brutes there fulfill her fantasies. Let her spend the rest of her life in regret. As for whether my little games would leave her with permanent health problems, that was a given. Otherwise, what was all my money for? I'd cranked the AC in the bedroom way down. When Chloe emerged from the bathroom, her hair still wet, she was shivering uncontrollably. Leo, it's freezing in here. I know. Why else do you think I told you to take a shower? Don't worry, we'll warm up soon. Come, look at the present your husband got you. Try them on for me. Her expression soured as she looked at the bed, now covered in sexy, lacy lingerie. But she had no choice but to start changing piece by piece. I feigned intense interest, offering critiques as she shivered, her skin covered in goosebumps. An hour later, I'd had my fill. I claimed I was too tired from the trip to continue our reunion. The look of pure hatred on Chloe's face was magnificent. If she had any power in this situation, she would have torn me apart. In the middle of the night, Chloe gently nudged me a few times. I pretended to be dead asleep, rolling over without a stir. She tiptoed out of the bedroom with her phone. I immediately opened the monitoring app on mine. Chloe, maybe we should stop for a while. I think Leo's suspects something. He was acting really weird today. Ryan, babe, relax. That idiot? If he hasn't figured it out after all this time, he never will. Chloe, but I'm scared. Ryan, don't be scared, baby. He's always traveling for work. How would he ever know about us? I love you. Chloe, Ryan, I'm just worried Leo will find out. You don't know him. He's extremely possessive. Ryan, what's there to be afraid of? So you get a divorce. Whatever he can give you, I can give you 10 times more. I'll marry you. I'll make you happy. Chloe, yeah, right? Leo makes 6 figures. Can you compete with that? Ryan, I just got an offer from Clark Industries. You know how well they pay? A management position, $250,000 a year. A lot better than your husband, right? Chloe, Clark Industries? Wow, that's huge. Leo used to work there, but they laid him off the year we got married. Such a shame. Ryan, see how good I am? So relax. With me, you'll be set for life. Chloe, okay, but not for the next few days. Not until he stops being suspicious. Ryan, don't be ridiculous. Let's go out tomorrow, have a nice romantic day. He'll have to report back to his office first thing. He won't have time for you. You cheating bastards. This recording is all the proof I need. Let's see how long you can keep this up. Clark Industries? He really thinks he's getting a job at Clark Industries. For $250,000 a year? And Chloe, the woman who is one step away from being the lady of the house, will have a beautiful meltdown when she realizes what she threw away. A few minutes later, Chloe crept back into the bedroom. After confirming I was still asleep, she finally relaxed and drifted off. The next morning, Chloe was up early, putting on makeup. Babe, my friend wants to go shopping. I'm heading out. Wait, I stopped her. She was bundled up even more than yesterday, probably still feeling the effects of my little dinner party. Why are you dressed like that? No, Leo Clark's wife has to look stunning. I pulled her back into the bedroom and personally selected her outfit for the day. A short-sleeved dress, thin stockings, high heels, the whole 9 yards. Ignoring her miserable expression, I sent her out the door. Then, I went straight to the Clark Industries headquarters. I sat in my old office, sipping tea and watching the live feed on my laptop. The spyware had given me their hotel and room number that morning. I'd had a micro camera installed before they even arrived. On screen, the two of them were like animals. The moment they were in the room, they were tearing each other's clothes off. No foreplay, no conversation. Only after they were completely spent did they start plotting against me. The gist of it was that divorcing me now would be a waste. Their plan was to harass me until I agreed to sign the condo over to Chloe. Then, once Ryan started his new job at Clark Industries, she would kick me to the curb, and they would live happily ever after. They were so open about it, so casual. They even talked about having another baby, hoping I would be stupid enough to raise it as my own for a few years. Their passion reignited by their brilliant scheming, they started going at it again. I'd seen enough. I had no more interest in their disgusting affair. When I got home that evening, Chloe still wasn't back. I dialed her number. Babe, what's up? Where are you? Why aren't you home yet? I'm still out shopping. I'll be home in a bit. Come back now. I need to talk to you. I hung up and immediately called Chloe's parents, inviting them over. If I was going to do this, I needed a full audience. At the hotel, Chloe and Ryan were still strategizing. What do we do? Leo's tone sounded off. Do you think he knows? Chloe was panicking. She'd been completely dependent on me for years. If I cut her off, she, who was now accustomed to a comfortable lifestyle, had no idea how she would survive. Ryan patted her shoulder and lit a cigarette, trying to act calm. Don't worry. I'll go back with you. Worst case, you get a divorce right then and there. I obviously got home faster than them. I was getting impatient by the time the two lovebirds finally sauntered in. The moment they saw them together, my in-laws froze. Honey, who's this? I asked, feigning ignorance. This is Ryan Porter. We all went to college together, remember? I just ran into him on the street, so we came back together, Chloe said, trying to sound casual. Her parents put on their best, I don't know anything faces. I just smiled. Ryan Porter. I remember. But are you sure you just ran into him? The tension in the room was so thick you could cut it with a knife. My in-laws tried to change the subject, but my icy glare silenced them. What's the relationship between them? I asked, looking at her parents. You two seem to know. Why don't you explain it to me? Seeing that I was done playing games, Chloe went on the offensive. Leo, what is your problem? I run into an old friend, we chat for a bit, and you get jealous? Are you even a man? Ryan smirked. Leo, we really did just run into each other. What's with the attitude? We're all guys here. You should be more broad-minded. If you don't love Chloe anymore, just let her go. Don't waste her time. Who the hell do you think you are? I snapped. You dare interfere in my marriage. Are you two sleeping together? My father-in-law flew into a rage, slapping Ryan across the face. What kind of friend are you, trying to drive a wedge between my daughter and her husband? Get out. Chloe rushed to shield her lover. Dad, what are you doing? He's my friend. Honey, don't let him fool you. Think about how good your husband is to you. Don't do something stupid, he pleaded, winking furiously, trying to signal her to back down. My mother-in-law chimed in. What are you talking about? Chloe is a devoted wife. She would never make a mistake like that. They both looked at me, trying to curry favor. But Chloe and Ryan weren't having it. They just stood there, staring coldly. Chloe let out a breath, as if ready to unleash all the frustration from the past couple of days. What's the big deal? I can't even talk to a friend now. You can't control my life. She plopped down on the couch, ready to throw a full-blown tantrum, and waited for me to apologize. Ryan smirked and sat down right next to her, acting as if he owned the place. My father-in-law was about to drag him out, but Ryan's next words stopped him cold. Sir, what can this Leo guy really offer? If it were me, not only would Chloe be living a better life, but I could easily get both of you jobs paying 6 figures. I'm at Clark Industries. I'm about to become a manager there. Finding you two a cushy job would be a piece of cake. Unlike Leo here, he's just a glorified salesman on the road half the year. How is he supposed to take care of Chloe? My father-in-law's hand, which had been grabbing Ryan's shirt, suddenly changed direction and started smoothing out the wrinkles. Chloe backed him up. He's right. Ryan is brilliant. Clark Industries personally recruited him. He starts in a few days. My in-laws were stunned. Clark Industries? Personally recruited? Their gazes shifted to me, now filled with disdain. Fine, I said with a shrug. If you're so brilliant, if you're the only one in the world who can make her happy, then she's all yours. My in-laws were shocked. They never imagined things would escalate this far. Chloe scoffed and stood up. Since you don't want to be married anymore, let's get a divorce. I can't believe you'd throw away all these years together. Done. Here's the divorce agreement. You leave with nothing. Chloe was furious. Leave with nothing. On what grounds? This is an amicable split. I'm the woman here. I've been with you for years. I want 60% of the assets. That's fair, isn't it? Looking at her shameless face, I tapped the manila envelope on the table. On what grounds? You really don't know. She was ready for a fight. Are you accusing me of cheating? You'd better have proof, otherwise that's slander. Ryan chimed in with a sneer. Come on, Leo, that's enough. Chloe's been with you for years. Even if you don't love her anymore, you can't just make things up. My in-laws were on her side now, too. If their daughter left with nothing, they'd get nothing. That wasn't acceptable. Leo, if you really want to divorce Chloe, we won't stop you. But making her leave with nothing is a bit much. I looked at this pathetic family and felt a chill. How had I never seen how awful they were? So, none of you are willing to accept this. They all nodded in unison. Fine. They wouldn't admit it until they were caught red-handed. I ripped open the envelope and tossed a stack of photos on the coffee table. Chloe and Ryan went pale. You had me followed? She shrieked. I shrugged. So they could do it, but they couldn't stand being caught. What, you're allowed to cheat, but I'm not allowed to know. Chloe was shaking with rage, pointing a finger at me. It's just a few pictures, so what? I can't have friends. How does this prove I cheated? Ryan shot me a defiant look. What's the matter, Leo? A real man has some guts. Are you really going to drag your wife through the mud over a few assets? Pathetic. He then smirked. So what if I slept with Chloe? What are you going to do about it? We did a lot more than that, you know. Want to hear the details? I smiled faintly and tossed a full set of hospital records onto the table. You mean the part where Chloe got pregnant with some bastard child? Yeah, I know. It's not that exciting. While they were still reeling, I turned on the TV. An X-rated movie started playing on the screen. It was the footage from their hotel room earlier that day. Chloe's brazen performance was so shameless that even her own parents had to look away. Leo, you filmed us. That's illegal. Ryan yelled. Then sue me. I'm not afraid. I leaned back, enjoying myself. Seeing the panic on their faces was immensely satisfying. Chloe, I said, pointing to the papers on the table, if you don't want this video getting out, you'd better sign this divorce agreement. The evidence I have is more than you can possibly imagine. I watched her grind her teeth, my heart swelling with triumph. Fine, she spat. I'll leave with nothing. But don't you get cocky, Leo. Ryan is 100 times the man you are. We're going to be buying a mansion soon. My former in-laws were already smiling and sidling up to Ryan. Son-in-law, my ex-father-in-law said, Chloe will be much happier with you. Unbelievable. Their daughter wasn't even divorced yet, and they were already calling someone else son-in-law. The nerve. Forced into a corner, Chloe signed the papers. That night, I kicked all of them out. Getting that toxic family out of my life felt incredible. After filing the divorce papers, I called my brother. Ethan, I'm ready to come back to the company. Is that okay? It's about damn time, you brat. Get back here. The Denver office is yours. I'm heading to New York for a while tomorrow. If you need anything, ask Victoria Davenport. Will do, Ethan. Don't worry about a thing. The next morning, feeling like a new man, I drove my car to the Clark Industries tower. I was surprised to see that Ethan had arranged a formal welcome, with a line of staff waiting by the entrance. Then I saw them. Ryan Porter, along with Chloe and her delightful family. Ryan looked at me with smug superiority. Well, if it isn't Leo. What, just got divorced and you're already out hustling for clients? The doors to Clark Industries aren't so easy to get through, you know? Oh, I didn't realize Clark Industries lets stray dogs bark at the front door. Does that mean I can't work here? Huh. Sour grapes, Leo? Let me spell it out for you. I'm here for my first day. Manager at Clark Industries. A position you could only dream of. Ryan was so full of himself, he was practically vibrating. Chloe was just as smug, puffing out her chest like a proud peacock. Leo, can you not be so pathetic? We're divorced. You could get on your knees and beg, and I would never take you back. I was speechless. Where did these people get their confidence? Chloe, if you have a chemical imbalance, you should see a doctor. I'm here to work. I don't have time for your nonsense. You. Chloe lunged at me, claws out, but I easily pushed her away. How did I never see what a trashy person she was? Chloe, you're not just sick, you're shameless. Stop right there. Before Ryan could make a move, a woman in a sharp business suit with a figure that could stop traffic walked out of the building. It was Victoria Davenport. We'd grown up together. She was also, technically, my fiancée. The moment Ryan saw Victoria, his eyes lit up with greed. If he could get with her, he could skip 50 years of social climbing. Ms. Davenport, he gushed, I'm Ryan Porter. Thank you so much for coming to welcome me personally. I am truly honored. Ryan was so ecstatic, he completely forgot about Chloe. He practically tripped over himself to get to Victoria's side, bowing and scraping like a dog. It's nothing. It's my duty, Victoria replied with a polite smile, which seemed to put Chloe's family at ease. Divorcing Leo was clearly the right choice. My ex-mother-in-law stood tall, looking at me with scorn. See that? The director herself came to greet him. That's what you call respect. You're just a grubby salesman. You shouldn't even be here. She then turned to Chloe. Honey, you really know how to pick them. This divorce was the best thing that ever happened to you. Chloe looked arrogant, as if she had already ascended to the pinnacle of her life. Silence. Victoria snapped, her voice cutting through the air. She was still the same firecracker I remembered. They all froze, stunned by her sharp tone. Ryan, completely oblivious, tried to get closer. Ms. Davenport, please don't be angry. It's this loser, Leo, who's polluted the air here. It's my fault. He then made a show of slapping himself a few times. Victoria stepped forward and slapped him hard across the face. Who do you think you are, spouting nonsense in front of the Clark building? Then, she walked briskly over to my side. Leo, you finally came to see me. Ethan told me you got divorced. You have to come over for dinner tonight. My parents have been asking about you for ages. Okay, I'll see your parents tonight, I said, instinctively reaching out and ruffling her hair like I used to. The four of them stared, their jaws on the floor. I shot them a cold glance, then said to Victoria, Vic, don't waste your breath on them. If we're going to discipline someone, they should at least be human. Wait, Leo. Mr. Clark, I was wrong. Everything before was my fault. Please, give me a chance. Ryan pleaded. Clark Industries has no place for people with no morals. Smack. My ex-father-in-law slapped Ryan across the face. You bastard. You're nothing but a liar. You can't get into Clark Industries now. How are we supposed to live? My ex-mother-in-law, equally furious, started pummeling Ryan's face with her fists. Chloe was frantic, trying to grab me from behind. Leo, I was wrong. I shouldn't have listened to that bastard's lies. Let's get back together. I watched as security guards held her back, a smirk playing on my lips. Regret it now, Chloe. Funny, I don't remember you having any regrets when you were plotting to have me raise your lover's child. Stay away from me, or there will be consequences. Victoria adjusted her glasses. You have terrible judgment. You threw away the heir to Clark Industries to chase after a loser like Ryan Porter. You were this close to being the next Mrs. Clark. So short-sighted. What can I even say? For the past few years, you've had the best of everything. Did you think Leo was providing that on a salesman's salary? Even after the family cut him off, they were still supporting you both from shadows. And this is how you repay them. Truly pathetic. Without another glance at the drama unfolding outside, she took my arm, and we walked into the building, heading for the elevator. Later, while Victoria and I were on our honeymoon, the story of what happened to Chloe's family came up as a joke. Chloe's reputation was ruined. No one in Denver would have anything to do with her. Her parents forced Ryan to marry her, threatening to accuse him of rape if he refused. Blackballed by Clark Industries, Ryan couldn't find a job anywhere in the city. He had no choice but to move Chloe and her parents back to that poor, dead-end town in Pennsylvania. None of them worked. They just leeched off Ryan, who became their personal punching bag. He lived in misery, but didn't dare fight back. Every time he tried, they beat him senseless. Chloe's health deteriorated. The cruel torment I'd put her through had left her with chronic pain that flared up on cold, rainy days. On top of that, Ryan's abuse caused several miscarriages, and she was eventually told she could never have children.